Exam mini video module 5. Starting off with transcription and translation, we have this DNA sequence up here with a template strand and a coding strand. During transcription, we read the template strand and create an mRNA sequence that is essentially the coding strand, just with U's instead of T's. So you can see we go from G to C, T translates into A translates into U, etc. Then in translation, we identify the start and stop codons, which are AUG and UGA respectively, in this sequence. And then we have our 5 amino acid protein sequence. Continuing on in translation, here are our codons up here, which translate into specific amino acids. We have methionine or M, tryptophan or W, isoleucine or I, and threonine or T. And this stop codon UGA doesn't code for anything. So we have this amino acid, MWIG, carboxyl end, in our final protein. Moving on to mutations, for the first example, missense. Missense is essentially when you go from one amino acid to another. So in this example, we go from U to C, which is a transition, as it is pyrimidine to pyrimidine. And in the final protein, we end up with methionine, tryptophan, threonine, instead of isoleucine, threonine, which essentially will just change the function of the protein. In nonsense, we go from an amino acid to a stop codon, a random amino acid in the sequence. This is a transition, A to G, purine to purine. In the final protein, we end up with amino acid methionine, and then it stops. So this basically just makes the protein non-functional. In the silent mutation, we go from an amino acid to the same amino acid, but the codon is changed. They code for the same amino acid though. This is a transition example, and in the final protein, we end up with the same final protein as the original protein. This has the same structure and the same function. And then in a read-through mutation, the stop codon mutates into an amino acid. So there's nothing that codes for the stop. This example is a transversion, as we went from a pyrimidine to a purine, or sorry, other way around, purine to a pyrimidine. And in the final protein, we end up with methionine, tryptophan, isoleucine, threonine, and cysteine, so it doesn't stop, and it's basically non-functional. And here are my sources.